Hi, Heartbreakers. So today I have a special guest, Lorena. No, I said it wrong, didn't I? I've been said for like the last 10 minutes. I've been trying to roll my R the way I'm supposed to say it. Lorena.
You got it.
Lorena Gomez.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And your middle name's Alexandra.
Alexandra, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but you can do
that's
it.
Such a pretty name.
Thank you.
How it flows. You have siblings?
I have a brother. We're from Puerto Rico, and he moved to Florida.
How long have you lived in LA? I know you live Orange County-ish, right? Yeah.
It's going to be 17 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't feel Puerto Rican anymore. It's been so long.
Do you go back and visit?
Yes, I go very often. I just bought my grandparents' house in Puerto Rico.
Nice.
They passed away 2 years ago.
Sorry.
And I was able to do that. It was a mission. I followed through, and now we own a house in Puerto Rico.
Congratulations. So you guys want to move back maybe, or?
Not yet. Everything, it's up in the air, especially since I have a baby.
How old's your daughter now?
2.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she's like baby-ish, but like can walk and stuff.
Can walk, can terrorize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. And I know you're a comedian too. How long have you been doing that?
I started 2 weeks before I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, so a little bit later then.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know I was pregnant, and I started taking classes. And while going to a class and I was trying to like riff new content, I tried to make a joke about me being pregnant and not wanting to be pregnant, and I started crying. And like everyone was like, is this a joke? This is not funny. I'm like, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do.
But you didn't know yet.
I knew it. Like I found
okay.
out like right before or a day before. And I'm like,
damn.
I'm going to quit comedy. I don't know what to do. Like I didn't expect I was going to get pregnant.
Well, why did you want to quit? You can't do it pregnant?
It's just like the stigma in Hollywood. Like I'm not Ali Wong that could be like, oh yeah, like I could have 3 pregnancies and be on stage and rage. I mean, I literally did not know what I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like, your body is changing. You're going through, like, all these hormones and past depression that you, like, go through, too.
Yeah.
And you're very vulnerable. Like, in being on stage and having a belly on stage.
Yeah, that and like people are just waiting for you guys to mess up. You know what I mean? Like I really love comedy shows, but I do there's times where I'm like, I could feel the tension. Like sometimes it's just not a good crowd where people just don't find anything funny. Like it doesn't matter if the joke's truly funny or not. You know what I mean? Like there's sometimes where people are just so cold.
Yep.
And I can't imagine like being pregnant too. Like that's just, it's emotional just in general.
It was pretty wild, but I decided to keep going. I'm like, you know what? Like, this is a test, and I really wanted to do comedy, and I wasn't going to give up. Like, I'm very resilient, and, like, no obstacle will come in front of me, like, that would prevent me to, like, I don't know, be my best self.
You're a go-getter. That's what it is.
I try to be, but I mess up so many times, hit my head on the ground so many times. It's almost funny. So that's why I do comedy.
Yeah,
in hindsight.
nice.
Yeah.
And how is it like being a mom just in general? You said your daughter's 2 and you said that you didn't want to be pregnant, or you did, or you were like, you just couldn't decide. Like now that she's here, you know?
It's crazy because I've always been like, you know, like free-spirited, and you know, culturally, like my background, my grandparents raised me like Latina culture. It's like you go to school, you get married, you have kids, like you become this like housewife. And I was like completely the opposite.
Yeah.
So I was like trying to like abide with this role as it was implanted in my brain, and I did wanted to get married, but I didn't really care, you know. And then I get married, I go to my honeymoon in Indonesia, in Bali, and I'm like, bro, I don't want to have a baby. I can live here. I make friends in like every resort. I was already learning Balinese, like winging it. And I come back, and it was like a week before the pandemic, or we like traveled through China or a wet market. It was called Shaman or something like that. And the pandemic happened. So when that happened, I was like, I told my husband, babies, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, I married you because you said you want to have kids. And I'm like,
oh, damn.
and I'm like, fuck.
And at this point, you guys are just like, you're a couple weeks into the marriage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pandemic happened, and I was drinking 2 bottles of wine, trying to do TikToks.
And you got pregnant. And
well, the things like started opening up, and my husband, he has twins in his family, and I go back to Puerto Rico, and we have like this OBGYN from the family. Like, unlike here, like doctors, they really care about like medicating you and like your money.
No, they're not good.
In Puerto Rico, they actually care about you, and like you can see a doctor until the doctor dies. And I was like, hey doc, what sexual position do I have to do to have twins? And he's like, well, Lorena, in theory, I liked your enthusiasm.
Yeah, but it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and like having twins is not that glamorous. And it's like, at your age, you want to have like, kids young. Some women like go on bed rest.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Or it could be triplets. What if you like, you just, they kick it up a notch and then all of a sudden it's 3 and 2's already a lot.
I would need a straight jacket or something like that. So he told me like that it was going to take me a while to get pregnant because I was in birth control for so long. Swear to God, the first month I got off birth control.
Yeah. I swear they lie about that. Like they're always like, oh no, you won't get pregnant for a while, whatever. And then you just like, I always hear that.
It's a scam.
I think it helps you get pregnant is the birth control as soon as you get off because it's so regulated then. And then, yeah, you're just ready to go. The egg is just ready to drop. But
that's exactly what happened. Oh my God.
So, I love that you're from Puerto Rico because we get to talk about the difference between like, is your husband Puerto Rican?
From Florida.
Oh, Florida.
Yeah.
Okay.
A white boy.
Yeah.
But not from here because guys here are so...
Well,
no offense. They're weird.
I was just going to ask you, is there like a huge difference between dating, just culture-wise? Or is there a difference between like Puerto Rican men?
Yeah. I like... Back when I was in Puerto Rico, like if I liked the guy and like the custom would be... Like, you will flirt, throw, like, hints, and then, like, pray to God that he noticed you, and then he'll do, like, make the first move. Whereas, like, here, I was surfing a lot when I first moved out here, and I would see all these hot men, and they would just look at you and, like, smile, and I'm like, what the F, like...
Like, do you like me or not?
Like, do you like me? Exactly. And I was, like, so, like... flabbergasted. I don't even know if that word makes sense in English because English is second language, but I was talking to like one of my roommates and she's like, Lorena, like culturally men here, you approach them.
I know it's so annoying, but the problem is with that is that if I have to approach a man, I already feel like I'm in my dominant position and like my masculine position and that it will never work. So I feel like that's why marriages last longer in other countries. But yes, that's how it is. You have to go up to them.
It's horrible.
You have to buy them a drink. You have to take them out to like 3 dates before it's like, the rules are reversed. It's like you got to take the guy out to get some sex for them at least 3 times. They act all like, no, like me for me.
How do you actually get turned on by that?
No,
like I would
it's
not.
hard to.
The moment I start talking to them, like I'm like, oh, you pussy.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you're a pussy. But yeah, tell me how you would hit on them.
I used to send like shots to guys. Like if I liked them and I saw that they were like noticing me, whether I was at a restaurant or like a bar, I'd send a drink over, like seriously. And then they come over, hey, you sent me. Like that's what guys used to do to me. And you have to, and this is like older men too, not older, but like, somewhat older than me. I have to do that for them. Or they come over and they are so like forceful. Like this happens all the time where I'm like, chill out. Like I was actually at Wally's. Do you know that restaurant?
It sounds familiar. Yeah.
And my friend Steph, who's over there, she was there and we're all sitting there and this guy comes over and he says, hey, my friend wants to show you a magic show. When he comes back, come over to him and ask him to see the magic show. And I said, no, like I'm with my friends and like we could barely ever like get everybody out at once. So like I'm going to stay here. Like I'm not going to go over to your table. We're eating. Then the friend comes over back again. He's like waving me over. He's like the guy in the hat, and I just ignore him. Like, what? I'm not gonna run over to the table and be like, "Hey, so your friend told me you want to show." Like, that's so embarrassing for me. I'm not gonna do that.
Holy
And
crap.
so then the friend comes back over. He said, "You really embarrassed my friend." He was like, "You really embarrassed him. Can you go to EPLP and meet us there?" I said, "Tell your friend to come over here and speak to me. If he wants to take me out, tell him to come over." Then a third person and another girl come over and was like, "Hey, you really embarrassed him. He really wants you to meet him at EPLP." And I'm like, "Bro, come over. If you want to speak to me, come over. You sent 4 people now."
How old was this person?
I don't know. I never went over. They were like, and the situation got so hostile because they kept begging me to go over to this guy. And I was like, "Just tell your friend to come over to me. I'm not going to go over there. I'm not. I have too much pride and I'm already crazy dominant. Like, I'm already crazy dominant. If he can't come over to me and just be like, 'Hey, what's your number?' without feeling embarrassed, it's not going to work. We're not going to get past like one sentence." Like, seriously.
It's crazy because, like, this is not the first time that I heard, like, you know, a Cali girl or, like, culturally.
Yeah.
They entertain that. And
No.
Well, I mean, after the first person will come to me,
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Bro, get me out of here." Like,
Yeah.
but then, like, 4 people, like,
I know, so ridiculous. But that's just how the guys are. Like, they'll send their friend over and be like, "Hey, do you want to go speak to my friend?" I'm like, "No, I want your friend to come over. I want your friend to come over here."
that's insane.
It's
Like,
so gross.
yeah, like, I tried dating out here, and it was just like, I got my heart broken, and I just started playing the game. It's crazy.
It is. It's like, it's not worth it. Just be single. Well, you're married. You're good. You're married and you have your baby.
Don't change the subject, just answer the fucking question.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
We have hot topics, and I really, because you have your baby, and I like this one because I don't know many people. Well, maybe you want to talk about it, but it's about postpartum depression affects everyone in the family. And it says in a new study conducted at the University Wisconsin-Madison, Professor Tova Walsh discovered that both parents of a new baby struggle with the transition to parenthood. 1 in 7 women are affected by postpartum. As it turns out, 1 in 10 men feel baby blues also. Some men are experiencing a postpartum like depression, like it could show by being avoidant, isolating themselves, spending less time with their family, using numbing mechanisms to cope. This can include drinking or throwing themselves into a lot of work, hobbies. Yeah, so I thought this was interesting that they talked about the husbands or the fathers being affected by postpartum. I didn't realize that men can also feel like depressed, because I know that has a lot to do with the fluctuation in the hormones.
Yeah,
that cause the postpartum, right? If I'm not wrong. I mean, like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like men do get depressed, or like?
So by definition, based on like my understanding, because I had perinatal depression, so I was depressed.
What's that?
I didn't know that until like I went through it. So perinatal depression is while you're pregnant before giving birth, you get depressed.
Yeah, because of the hormones. I'm
The
guessing.
hormones, denial, like I honestly, like, I was just in like another planet. Comedy really helped me in writing.
Yeah.
And then postpartum was worse because I had lost, you know, to my grandparents.
Yeah. So maybe just depression in general, though?
All of
Or,
it.
Yeah.
So like I was almost like hospitalized because I couldn't like function, but I was like, I kept going and going and going.
Yeah.
But by definition, postpartum depression is like when a woman, I mean, it's controversial, obviously, like, but based on my subjective understanding of what it is, you're grieving your old self, you losing hormones, and like just understanding that your life will never be again. All the changes that the woman's body go through is insane. Like, it took me 2 years to actually feel back to myself, but back to myself is not true because
It's a new self.
it's a new self. Exactly. So like when I first started talking about like postpartum depression, I was at this like birthday and one mom approached me and she's like, my husband has postpartum depression. And obviously, like, if you hear it on the streets or whatever, like, men are gonna be like, what? What is that? Like, I'm macho man. I don't get depressed. And, like, he started talking to me, and he's like, the way he was experiencing it sounded, again, not to, like, minimalize, like, what it was, like, going through. But it was just, like, a confusion. And, like, I guess, like, when you're in sync with your partner or whatever, you go through, like, that highs and lows of, like, what pregnancy is. Thankfully, my husband did not go through that, but science, it's completely different. It's like, yeah, hasn't been talked much about like what men go through, but at this point in time, you know, you haven't heard anything like getting help in California for postpartum depression for women is nearly impossible.
Yeah, like, is there a medication that helps it? They just subscribe like regular antidepressants, or do they regulate the hormones, or do they do it all, or there's nothing even? They just say watch and see, because postpartum depression is actually dangerous. There's sadly there's women that have actually killed their children because they haven't been able to manage it, or it's been ignored. Like, people can lose their marriages due to it, and or you just can't even be a mother.
Yeah, and you nailed it. I went through everything except, thank God, like, I'm not, my baby's my everything, even though she drives me insane, because she's me, but she looks like my husband, which is insane. It was just surreal, like something in my body, like a shadow in my body. I was scared all the time. Like, I will look at her and I'll be like, oh my God, like, what if I grab a pillow? And I know it might be triggering to people, but like, I read so much about it. Like, if I suffocate my baby, or like part of my comedy thing is like making fun of like what I went through. And like, sometimes I would fantasize about walking into the 405. Be like, I just want to park here.
I'm so sorry.
And looking for help. Like, one of my good friends in comedy, she's really good friends with a comedian, and she found really good help in Malibu, and like and it's not even like focused on postpartum depression, but the care there for depression is so good.
Yeah.
So there's really not help like for.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to, like, you know, when this comes out, I'm going to have to do some research, honestly, and see if there's even some things that we could put at the bottom for, like, you know, mothers that are struggling, like a 1-800 or something. Because, yeah, I have a family member that she never recovered from postpartum depression. She lost her child. He's in, you know, the foster system. She went on drugs. And I was like, I remember when she had him, I'm like, her depression is so bad. She actually tried to run in front of a car at one point, and we thought it was every mental illness, you know. And looking back, I'm like, that was postpartum depression that nobody wants to, like, they'll just say like, oh, okay, then now you're schizophrenic. It jumps, you know. It's never like, let's medicate this person. And I'm really happy that you're better now. I really am. It's like,
it took so long. It was insane. I mean, I tried like medication, acupuncture, I mean, everything, because I was very committed to like be better. I'm not saying like other women are not.
Yeah.
But it's so strong, so strong that I never thought I was going to get out of it. Like, I literally didn't think I was going to make it another day.
Yeah. And you know what doctors need to do too, I think, is like, they want to explain everything to you while you're pregnant, but what they don't want to explain is postpartum depression. I think that they need to like hammer that into people too, so they can like almost like be like, oh wait, that's what I have. Because I think that it's hard for people to figure that part out, you know. My brain doesn't jump like when I'm depressed, like, oh, I'm actually depressed. I just think I'm being weird.
Yep.
And,
exactly.
You know, like literally I'm like, oh my God, I'm just being so weird. I can't control myself. But it's never like, oh wait, I'm depressed right now or whatever. And
the weirdness, I can totally relate. I'm like, oh, what is wrong with me? And it's like, oh, it's like a normal thing that humans face. And here, like, doctors, they just give you a pamphlet.
Yeah, no
like,
way.
They're like, okay, this is postpartum depression. This is postpartum blues, because there's those blues and then the depression.
There's a difference. Sometimes the blues, I'm guessing, is just like you're just a little sad. And
it's then, like, I think it's like a 10 days post, like,
exhaustion.
Yeah, like post like giving birth to your baby. But then once it gets over 2 weeks, then it's like considered depression.
Yeah.
But again, everything is just like, it's no black and white when it comes to mental health. Like, you still can't figure out, like, when doctors medicate you, like, they don't know exactly like what neurotransmitter, like,
which one works.
Yeah, because there's no study, like, no one can like really go into your brain and be like, oh, this person is lacking this and that. It's very like subjective to whoever is caring for you.
I know. And like, yeah, then they'll be like, try this medication, try this one. And then now you're really crazy with your brain patterns because you've tried 3 different medications. Like, and also, like, do you go to a psychologist when you have postpartum, or do you go to your OB and ask them about like what to do, you know, because it has to do with that. I feel like there needs to be a postpartum doctor specifically, like literally. I think there needs to be someone that's like specializes just in postpartum.
I literally search for so much help. Like, I swear, if I could have gotten the Pope's number, I'd be like, bro, help me. What is crazy about when you get out of the OBGYN, you have like the 6-month or the 6-week visit. And like that one is like the green light, I can have sex again.
Yeah.
I didn't even wait either. Like,
do people do that? What's like this, like, you think like 2 weeks is long enough? Or it just depends on the person, obviously.
I probably had like a vibrator that.
Oh, you're not even allowed to masturbate?
Oh yeah, like a vibrator. Yeah. But like,
okay.
and luckily my rupture was like I was very lucky in terms of like giving birth and everything. But what came after, I'd rather have my vagina and my butt become one.
Oh, stop.
Sorry.
Please. I know. I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Cut that out, please. Sorry.
Well, that's not you. You don't have, it's not.
Yeah.
A episiotomy is where they
thank God.
it.
Yeah. So basically,
your butt to your
I didn't make it to 6 weeks. I'm jumping into it. And then what they do is they give you a pamphlet of like 10 questions, like from 1 to 10. Agree or strongly disagree, like, have you thought of like killing yourself? And then like, I mean, it's a questionnaire. I'm like giving you the gist of like 10 or.
Well, first off, who's gonna mark a 10 that's truly feeling that way? Nobody's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, that's not a good. I don't think just handing. Anyways, sorry, go on.
Oh no. You're right. Like, that's not a true gauge of like mental health assessment, especially when you have a kid. If you put like, I'm thinking about doing this or that, or like, I'm super depressed, I can't live another day, they're gonna take your kid away.
That's true.
Yeah, they're gonna take your kid away. So it's like you have to like kind of lie, because
I didn't even think about that.
And I have a Colombian friend that I would like tell them, and she will be like, hey Lorena, like, be very careful with that, because they do, like, the system just takes care of, or will take them away. They will, you know? Yeah. So I had to like really navigate that carefully. But luckily I went to group therapy. I went to mom groups in Orange County, which were completely unrelatable because of obvious reasons. But I honestly did it all. And I do want to help other women that are going through that.
You should. I don't know if there's like charities. I don't know. You know, I like this site called BetterHelp. It's almost like, you know what ZocDoc is, kind of like, anyways, it's just for therapists. And like, even I think just like teaming up with them and like, cause so people can get therapists and talk about it. And it's like $150 for people, like for one session. That's very cheap, you know? Yeah. And like just little things like that, because, or just making reels, I don't know, of like, you know, and just really
hone in on it.
Yeah. Obviously I don't have a kid, so, but like if I were to have postpartum depression, I feel like that's where I would go. Unfortunately, is like online trying to figure out like what I can do, and like stuff like that could really be, and it could be healing for you too.
Totally. Yeah, I've heard of BetterHelp. What scares me too is that being online and like talking about subjects like this, it's a very dark place.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, you know, a lot of people have really like ill intentions, and like they would try to attack your point of view on certain things based on like your skill set or like
your of course
your education. And it's just very crazy, like navigate the media and trying to like figure out how to like portray a message that comes out to be positive very objectively.
I know.
With minimal opportunities for trolls to like come in, because at the end of the day,
It's impossible.
yeah,
That doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. You could say something that's so nice and there's nothing that anyone could twist, and they will absolutely find a way, or they'll just comment on the way you look and then you know, be like, destroy you in that way if they can't figure out what to pick through on what you said. That doesn't help depression. You know, actually, now that I'm thinking about what I just recommended for you, I'm
no,
like,
I mean,
you shouldn't do that.
Based on your like skill set, and like what you know, like obviously, like you gave really good advice. And have you dealt with a lot of hate from like people online?
Oh
or,
yeah,
like,
all
how do
day
you
long.
navigate that?
It's been 10 years of it. So I feel like, and I was like severely bullied in high school. Like they would try to beat me up every day. Like just very, very violent and very like just horrible. And I'm used to that since 15. So if anything, I use it as fuel now. Like I had this magazine that told me that I was supposed to shoot the cover of it, and they were just like, you know, so rude. The PR person was just going in, you're disgusting, you're blah blah blah. Like, and I actually sat there and I was like, I'm gonna cry. Like I've never had someone speak to me like this. And I was like, I'm gonna use it as fuel, because guess what, I bet you one day I could absolutely get on the cover of that, and I won't even say the name, but I bet you I will be able to, just because you pissed me off enough. So I do use it as
Feel.
it doesn't affect me.
That's good.
It really doesn't. But before it used to, like people would comment, like I could have like one stretch mark like on my hip where it's normal, and people would be like, I see a stretch mark, or I'm like 18, you know? It really did. There was times where I felt very sad.
Did you grow up out here?
No, I grew up in Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah.
And now that's like a slang for Gen Z. Like so Ohio.
Everybody hates Ohio.
No,
it means
like
something gross, huh?
You're
That's
like,
so Ohio.
Like it's lame, and it's like insane. Like they associate whatever. Gen Z is gonna ruin our lives.
Yeah. I don't know what generation I am. I think I might be a Gen Z. Am I a Gen Z? I'm 96.
You're millennial for a couple things.
Oh,
Gen
so
Z.
I'm a millennial then. Okay, good. I want to be a millennial, right? That's better.
You
than
be
Gen Z,
whoever you
or-
want to be. Like,
Okay.
it's like, no, I mean, and obviously, like, your success, like, goes beyond, like, any Ohio term. But it's funny.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about,
Yeah.
the Ohio term.
And getting bullied in Ohio, like, I don't know if I want to raise my child in California. I could not even
No.
imagine.
I think you should homeschool. I think that
I
people-
was thinking, oh my God, thank you.
Or just
thank you.
and there's so many different homeschool little groups, and I'm learning more and more about it just through people like you and like saying it, like where they can socialize. It's almost like borderline going to school, but small groups and stuff like that. But I cannot imagine how mean kids are today. I can't imagine it. And they were pretty mean.
If you have resources for homeschool or know people, please let me know.
I will.
Because
seriously, I know a
thought
lot
of,
of people
like-
talking about it. And when do they have to go to school? Like, is it like you have a couple of years, obviously, or
so
no?
I have friends that, you know, a year and a half, 2 years are already like in school, and I see them with Universe. That's for me is like triggering. And like the stories that I hear, and like I want to make sure, like, if it comes down to her being in school in the system, one, it's gonna be private school, not to sound like
No, it's
pretentious,
it
or
just has to be like that.
homeschool. And I tell people, and like they're looking at me like, oh, you're crazy. And I'm like, I am who I am. I'm gonna be preschool or homeschool. And I want to make sure that she talks, because there's so many like sickos out there, and I've heard stories, and it's just like, I don't know, being a parent is the craziest thing. Like, you give birth to your biggest weakness in your life, and it's beautiful.
I don't want to do it. Everybody that the more days that pass and the older I get, I'm just like,
Don't
I
feel
don't want
pressured by like the system or like whatever. I mean,
not.
like,
I feel the opposite. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't want to do it at all.
good for you.
Yeah, I
Like,
just
not a lot of
can't.
people know what they want and what they want to accomplish.
Yeah, I think I'm good. I froze my eggs. I talk a lot about it. I froze my eggs, so I feel like I have until I'm 45.
Amazing.
I feel like that's
So you have an egg supply. You're
Yeah.
you have a successful podcast. Life is good.
Yeah.
Life is good.
All right, so we have some fan questions. I, 28 male, recently got into a fight with my girlfriend when I said that Sabrina Carpenter was my Hollywood wife as a joke. She does the same thing with a bunch of hot guys in movies and TVs. I never thought anything of it. When she says it, it's just a joke and not that deep. Now that I've made this joke, she's accused me of actually loving her and that I'm probably cheating on her. It feels like a crazy double standard. I'm pissed about it. What should I do? Do you think it's a double standard? What do you think he should do?
I really do think it's a double standard, but I guess like there's like a written rule. You know, guys are not supposed to say that
Anything about
anyone
women.
else. Yeah.
Anything about women whatsoever. Never ever. You are a virgin. Like that's
Yep.
what it, like it should be. Never ever. But I do think it's a double standard.
Oh, definitely is. I feel like oftentimes, like when people get so mad about certain things like that, they're projecting.
Yeah.
So what is that person doing that is so jealous?
Maybe she's
about?
DMing the hot guys that she likes, and
Yeah, not adding fuel to the fire, but it's like when you're like very secure in your relationship, like yeah, you have like insecurities often, but it sounds like they're young and they have to like
28 male. They're not that young.
I mean,
not-
28 male in California might as well be 18.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. You're right. Okay, so the next question is, I went on a trip to Vegas with my husband only to find him missing at 2 a.m. with our bank account drained. My husband and I took a last minute vacation to Vegas to see a show I've been dying to see. Right after the show, I got super tired, so I went up to the room and he said he was going to go gamble for a bit and then come up. Hours passed. He never came up to the room. Around 2 a.m. I tried to find him, but his location was off. He wasn't picking up his phone. Shortly after, I saw that there was a $3,000 charge to our shared bank account to the strip club in our hotel. About an hour later, he stumbles into our room, pissed drunk, and says it's not a big deal and nothing sexual happened. I don't believe him, and I'm furious. We've been married for 5 years, and I'm wondering if I should stay or leave him. Help. First off, I thought which is no better. I thought he was gonna drain the bank account just from doing slots or something. But
Yeah,
the
gambling.
strip club twist is crazy because he could drain the bank account at a strip club wherever they live. They don't gotta go to Vegas for that.
The first thing I would ask is like, give me like the receipt. With
Well,
like,
what does she do? It's already out of the bank account.
yeah,
Return, call the bank and say this was a fraud.
Oh no, I'm just like being like, give me an itemized.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Like that, it's impossible. But yeah, it's completely sketchy. I would suggest therapy.
Mature answer.
Yeah, like
mature
therapy.
answer.
Simply because like when you go to Vegas after 5 years married, like you go to Vegas as a couple, like you should be able to like have fun together and like have a healthy balance of like
Shows, gamble.
Yeah,
maybe
like
even go to the strip
independence.
club together or whatever. And yeah.
him turning the location off. That shows malicious intent. So that gave it away.
I think that he was seeing an escort. That's why the location was off, is that he found an escort actually at the strip club, and that's really what the charge is. And that's why his location's off. I mean, maybe because he didn't want to admit that he was at the strip club all night, but he was going to have to because of the charge. I think he took a stripper home.
Yeah, it's like super sketchy. $3,000 in Vegas for that.
Should she stay married?
I would get an STD test before
Okay.
making that decision.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, just
You jumped there. It was therapy and now it's an STD test.
At the end of the day, like when someone acts like that, it comes from a place of like disrespect.
Yeah.
If like your partner stop respecting you, like how are you gonna take care of yourself, right?
I hate to say it, but I'd get a divorce over that. And it's not because he went to the strip club. It's
Yeah.
because of the lack of like responsibility and the money. She said drain bank account, so it sounds like that's all they had in their bank account. Like that lack of, like you said, respect and like just boundaries and control. I don't want to stay married to someone like that. You know, and I take money very seriously in a relationship. Like I feel like it shouldn't be something to just like, let's just, this one person spends it, this other person work. You know what I mean? Like I don't like any of that. I'd get divorced. I really would.
I agree. I mean, I would definitely go there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd
totally.
definitely
Yeah,
go there.
I am like,
Because he's gonna do it again.
Oh, totally.
He can't. He's gonna do it again, 100%. Especially if he's drunk, like he can't control himself by himself. It's not like he was there with his friends. They went as a couple.
That's so weird.
It's so weird. All right, guys. So thank you so much, Lorena.
Yeah.
Lorena, right? Or no?
Lorena. Yeah, you learn. Yeah.
Thank you
Amazing.
for coming today. It
You're
was nice
amazing. Oh my
so
God.
are you.
I'm so.
And thank you so much for talking about the postpartum depression. That's something that I haven't had on this podcast. And there's a lot of women and moms and stuff on it. And I think they need to hear about it's okay if you are depressed like that. And I'm going to really try to find some stuff to,
Help
them. Seriously.
Please do.
Yeah.
Especially if you have like the following and the power.
Yeah, I will. Absolutely. Anything like that, I'll definitely 100%.
Thank you, Elsa. So they can find me at my IG and TikTok is at Lorena from Puerto Rico. I have a show on Tuesday. It's called D Cups. I'm trying to like work the final details, but I'll send that over. It's in West Hollywood.
I was gonna say that's in person, right?
Yeah, in person. But yeah, like I post all my shows and like upcoming shows on my IG or in my IG, whatever, and on. But yeah, we'd love to keep talking to you.
Yeah,
and-
absolutely. I'll let you know anytime I'm in your area, and then let me know whenever you're here. I guess you'll be in West Hollywood soon, but yeah. Let's definitely stay in touch.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye, guys.
you. Bye.